It's official. 3D is now everywhere. You see it in billboards, you see it in advertisements. Go see this film in 3D. Go see this in 3D. And part of the thing is, a lot of people are, I think, really coming down on it a bit harshly. Let me come from my perspective. I saw Avatar. Thought Avatar visually was amazing. Too bad the movie itself and the script was kind of crappy, because otherwise it would have been one of the more phenomenal film experiences that anybody could have. Just from a visual perspective, you're looking at this world, and it's not just the visuals itself. It's the depth texture. It's the fact that there's depth perception within the actual film image. On one plane, you've got the character. In the background, you can see plants and flora and all sorts of things. And it really helps to make it feel like it looks like a window that you're looking into. It's not just a flat surface. I'm not saying that, everybody should run out and buy a 3D television. Far from it, in fact. I'm not quite sure how exactly that technology is going to work until we get to a point where we don't have to wear 3D glasses, which I honestly do believe that we will get to a point or you can pull off 3D without the glasses. Nintendo is already working on it. And if Nintendo has already worked on it, then by God, it must not be all that hard to do. Sure, it's on tiny little screens, but they'll come up with something. I'm sure Panasonic or some old company somewhere down the line 5 years from now will pull off 3D in a way that it's not going to bug anybody's eyes. You're going to be able to look at the image and you're going to be like, oh, it's 3D. But I don't have to think about the fact that it's 3D because of the way that the screen's set up or whatever. It'll be some kind of I'm stuttering here a bit. But it'll be some kind of neato optical illusion that's going to completely pull you into it. I'm noticing, though, and I think this is kind of like the problem with the 3D thing, is that they're pushing it a little too much to the point where audiences are starting to get irritated about the fact that every time you see a trailer for something, it says, oh, Yogi Bear, now in 3D, or something or other, now in 3D, some piece of shit, now in 3D. We're disguising the fact that it's a piece of shit by the fact that we've added 3D on top of it. People are beginning to catch on to the fact that most of these 3D films suck. The 3D isn't implemented well, and it's gotten to the point where people are like, outside of Avatar, 3D is just not going to work in the market in general. And I completely disagree with this notion. I think it's great to have the option of seeing it in 2D and in 3D separate from each other, because there's some people that, for some reason, 3D just bugs their eyes. There are some individuals that you'll talk to that are like, oh, my eyes just feel like they're going to bug out of my head if I ever see a 3D movie. That's understandable. You have the 2D print for that specific purpose. And if it's a great movie, it won't matter whether there's 3D effects in it or not. But for big budget science fiction and fantasy romps, there's, at this point, why not do it in 3D? I mean, it's really expensive and it's a process that, it takes a lot of time to implement it well. But when it is done to such a rich detail as something like Avatar, and I'm even going to use some animated examples. How to Train Your Dragon was magnificent in 3D, and most certainly Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which I personally thought was amazingly underrated. I'm sorry, I'm going to get amazing amounts of people going, what? Seriously? The trailer sucked. The movie is actually very funny, and the 3D was very well implemented in that particular case as well. It's really great for especially CGI animation. There aren't as many great live-action examples of 3D having been implemented to the mouth-watering degree, but still, you're looking at it, and it's like, if you can use this well, and you can enhance the experience of a particular big-budget event movie with the 3D, I see no reason why not. I don't understand all of the hate that's suddenly circulating around going, ooh, Hollywood, drop out on the 3D, it's just a gimmick and it sucks and whatever. Yeah, it's a gimmick. I'll give you that. It's trying to get people into the theater and get them to get excited about something that they can't just go home and watch. But still, if you're adding on an extra layer of polish to what's already a great product, what's so bad about it? It's still a movie. A movie is a movie is a movie is a movie. And adding this extra effect to a film that could possibly enhance the visual delight of it, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all, and people, I think, need to stop bitching about it a little bit. They can bitch about bad 3D. That's perfectly fine, because I've seen plenty of examples where bad 3D actually gets in the way of the experience. But to bitch about 3D as a whole without giving proper kudos, I think, to the experiences that really were detrimental or really. Anyways, I'm getting off on a nerd thing here. Peace.